Another edition of the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show, sponsored all season long by Wholesale Supply Group. Once again, we're joined here with Walker Valley head football coach Drew Akins. I'm Andy Morris, along with Jacob Mason, and this is Howard Week. It is the last regular season game of the year, region game at that, and it will take place this Thursday. Coach, first of all, how you doing?
Doing all right. Our kids came back today, as they always do. Kids are so resilient. That's kind of the fun thing about being a part of this job. Adults sometimes have a harder time bouncing back, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think as an adult, you know the limited amount of opportunities you get, so you want to reach all those. You kind of have a good understanding of that. Kids just bounce back quicker and things. And I think another reason adults take longer is because we are worried about the kid. I think we're always worried, how are these kids going to react? How are they going to respond? What are they going to do? Are they going to keep coming? Do they still believe in us? And man, our kids have just continued to show that they believe in us. They believe in our process. They believe in what we're doing. And we just got to keep pressing forward. And they kind of give me energy. They give our coaching staff energy. So excited to be back on the field today and get back to work. A region game, an opportunity to go 3-1 in the region. Obviously, we're going to finish second no matter what and host. But just to kind of end the season on a high note with senior night and, celebrating this group of seniors. I love this group of seniors so much. I care so much about them. They've been great leaders for us all year. And we're excited to celebrate those guys on Thursday night.
Yeah, again, Jacob and I talked about this during the game Friday, post-game with you as well, but this is a very resilient group of kids that do not quit. And that's one thing, if you could just kind of talk to us about specifically, again, no one likes the L as the outcome, you especially, and neither do these kids. No. But the effort that they've put in every Friday night, every game has been a battle.
It feels like every game we've been right in the thick of it. Even Cleveland, the way it ended, didn't look like it on the scoreboard, but if you look up in the fourth quarter, it's 20-3, and we have the ball. So we're still in the thick of it, even in a game that kind of got out of hand towards the end. But, we've lost 4 games by 24 points. We've lost 5 games by, I think, 40, 38, 40, something like that. Right at a touchdown a game, and that's hard. That's hard to continue to bounce back from. But it speaks to our leadership that our kids just keep coming, keep playing, because, a lot of teams would have laid down. They would have said, man, we can't get over the hump, so why do we keep trying? And we've never seen that out of our kids. We've never seen this out of group, and it speaks to our leadership. I think Tucker Owenby's been an unbelievable leader for us all year long, showing up, playing both sides of the ball, doing everything we've asked him to do. I think he's right at 50 catches, over 600 or 700 yards receiving. Eli Denton, I know you're the offense guy, you're the defense guy, so Eli Denton showing up, leading the state in tackles still for our team. And Jackson Gibson, even when he's been hurt, he's shown up and he's kind of supported our guys. Brady Montgomery, and you just go down the list and just guys that have led, Will Turner and Gideon Van Dyke on the
a lot of these guys playing both ways too.
Yeah, those guys just our leadership's been awesome, and they love each other. They love our coaching staff. We love them, and that keeps you fighting forward. I think hate quits when things get hard. When you play out of hate, those things quit. And when things get difficult, when you get adverse, you start turning on each other. You start yelling at each other. You start pointing fingers at each other. Love does the opposite. Love looks inward and says, hey, what can I do to make us be better? And that's what our team's done over and over. And, I talked to him after the game on Friday night, and I pointed at the scoreboard, and I said, man, the world is going to define success is what that scoreboard says. And to an extent, we have to as well. In the end, I'm in a scoreboard business. But even bigger than that, I'm in a building young men business. And this group of young men has shown me how to be resilient and how to bounce back and how to keep pressing forward even when it's difficult. And I told our principal, Dr. Bell, her and I had a conversation and just said, man, that, think about, one, how far we've come with this group. It's the first group we've had all 4 years. I've got to see them grow from baby freshmen all the way up to who they are today, these young men that are leading a program. But then think about what this program has done over the last 4 years and where we are academically. We had 408 classes from our football players. 408 classes. We failed 1 out of 408. So, we're passing all our classes. We had a 3.5 GPA. That's a win.
Yeah.
When you look at a scoreboard, that's a win on a scoreboard. These kids having great grades and have an opportunity, even if they choose to go in the workforce, they have an opportunity to go to the next level and go to school. And then just looking at the young men that we've built, those are wins. Each one of these seniors is a win. And that's how I am going to grade our team. I'm going to grade them by how many young men did we grow that are going to be successful in life. And this group of 15 guys are just going to be that. I truly believe that these guys are going to go impact the world in a great way. And a lot of things that we taught them through our program kind of leads to that, kind of speaks to where we're going to go. So excited to celebrate them. Like I said, man, I love this group so much. I care about them. They have impacted my life. They've impacted our coaches' lives. I hope we've done the same thing for them. And we look forward to celebrating them on Thursday night.
And with that being said, too, just to put things in perspective, second in the region, not too shabby. Being competitive for a region championship, a great spot to be in when obviously, as you're speaking to us, you still have some frustrations as a head coach of things that could have been, maybe should have been. But again, when it's been time to show up, Jacob and I have said this week in and week out during our broadcast, the Mustangs have showed up.
We haven't no-showed yet.
Yeah, they've shown up week in, week out, played competitive football, and won the important games with the exception of the McMinn game. And
but we're competitive in that
exactly.
one, too, against a really good
Exactly.
we look back, and you look at our schedule, look at what we've done. Smith County right now is the number 3 team in their division. Upperman, who we played last Friday, that we'll talk a little bit more about that game, they're number 4 in their division.
This has not been a weak schedule.
Dude, we have played some dudes, which you look back and you're like, man, I hate we didn't win against Carter, which is a game that I wish we could go back and replay, and I think we could have won it. I hate we didn't win against Bradley Central, a game that we played really well that we just didn't make 1 or 2 more plays. I hate against Smith County. We were right there in it, and we lost by 5. I hate last week. We lose by 7. But these are great football teams, and what it's done is it's prepared us for the run we're about to go into.
It gets forgotten about when you win the first round of the playoffs.
Exactly.
I'm just telling you that right now.
And listen, this is a group of seniors that's going to leave this place with the most wins by a class in school history. More wins than any class in school history. They're going to be one of the few that have hosted 2 playoff games. They have an opportunity to be the only that has won 2 playoff games. So, this group still has some things ahead of them that they have an opportunity to go accomplish. And we're fighting our tail off to make sure that our kids are in the right spot to go accomplish those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive into last week. I'm the defensive guy.
Let's go.
So
I got some good stats for you on defense.
Going to go on defense. I have a bad habit of jumping ahead of the game on the broadcast. So we're talking about fourth down and 5, 1:34 left. I'm sitting there. I'm like, if I'm, Upperman. If I'm Upperman, I'm sending my field goal unit out here. I'm kicking it. I'm going up by 3, and then I get the ball back at halftime. Quite shocked to see them go out there and go for it. But then our defense was just a bend, not break kind of deal.
Early
and
on,
how big that was in that drive to come back and march down the field with 1:34. Just kind of talk about the defensive effort.
Yeah, really cool drive. They drove down. I think they're inside our 20. But man, I'll tell you one thing that they did the other night. We'll talk some positives and negatives throughout the night. Defensively, Upperman did a great job early of getting us on our heels, showing us something we haven't seen on film. We knew they were going to do something to kind of get us off balance early, and then they would kind of fall back into who they are. So our defense kind of weathered the storm. We get to that drive, and they're driving down the field. It's 7-7 at that point, I believe. They get down inside the 20, and it's first down. And Eli Denton goes and sticks the quarterback. Big-time play by Eli, sticking the quarterback, gets up, and he flexes, and he does something that we kind of talk about a lot where, hey, make your energy transferable, where you have so much energy that transfers to somebody else. And you kind of felt that. Like, he hit it, and everybody was like, ooh, and our defense kind of got hyped. And then the next play, Eli goes, and the pull and Y back, he sticks, and he rocks him. And again, it would, transferred energy to our defense. And then we get to the 4th down and 5, and they run a quarterback sprint out to the left. Zeke does a great job of setting the edge. Zeke goes inside. Christian Wilds comes outside and sets the edge, and there's nowhere for the quarterback to go. A great response by our defense there. And then offense gets the ball. I don't really remember. It was under a minute and a half probably left in that quarter. We drive down and get a vertical ball to Tucker. Get a face mask penalty that helps us, obviously, gets us to our side of the field. We drop it down to Eli. He steps out of bounds. We turn and look. I think the referee turned and looked at the same time. And there was just under 2 seconds left when he steps out of bounds.
Very good awareness by Eli to get out of bounds.
Very good. I said, man, you got to get out of bounds there. Don't make that so close. And he's like, Coach, I was just trying to get us as close as we possibly could. And then Eli Wilson goes out and kicks, a 39-yarder, his career long. We've talked about it every week on the show, man. He's just been a weapon for us.
Absolutely.
Gave us an opportunity to be up at halftime. Gave us some momentum going into halftime. And Eli's just been awesome for us. So that sequence was really big to kind of see, hey, get a quick stop because you did something that transferred energy into other people. And then offense, go get 3 points with under a minute left. We did that really, really efficiently there. I thought later in the game, at the very end, we had a very efficient drive to go score to give us an opportunity for the onside kick. I think we got the ball back after they scored to make it 24-10. I think we got the ball back with around 2 minutes left, maybe like 2:06.
Yeah, it was just over.
Just over 2 minutes left. And we go down to score with 2:26 left on the clock. So, a 40-second drive where we hit Tucker on the big play, and then we go incompletion, and then we run the quarterback draw for the touchdown. But 40-second drive to give us an opportunity to onside kick it. And then, even though we didn't get the onside kick, we were right there on third down away from getting a stop to get the ball back to, and then again, you have I think there was a minute, 11 seconds left at that point. So to give ourselves a chance, hey, we didn't get the ball on the ground there, just to give us a chance to, put it in the end zone, at least have the ball in the air in the end zone with no time left. But defensively, man, I thought Eli had a great game. He ended up with 15 and 7, 15 solos, 7 assists. Brady had 11 and, they ended up with 26 and 12, or 26 and 12. So Brady had 11.
I believe Hollingsworth had 8 tackles.
Brady's up over 11. Mm-hmm. He had a tackle for loss. So you're talking, but combined between them, they were like 26, 12, and 1 defensively. So huge impact plays by them. The big thing, we just got to, there's all kinds of positives throughout the night. We've got to get off the field. I think those extended drives where, it's 3rd down and 12 and they run quarterback draw and you have a chance to make the tackle at, to make it 4th and 8. And instead he misses, we miss a tackle and they go get a first down. And they don't end up scoring on that drive. But it gives them a chance to keep the ball. And, you look up at the end and they had 68 snaps and we have 42 snaps. And it's just, we're not being efficient on offense and not getting in a rhythm, and we're not getting off the field defensively. And that's just kind of costing us at points. Offensively, I thought we had a really good game plan. That second drive of the game, we went play to tuck, glance over the middle to Blaine, big play, and then went straight to jet sweep and scored. And it was like, hey, that was a really good momentum drive. We went inside zone. Christian had a cutback to their side of the field, about 11-yard run. We just felt kind of cohesive in that drive.
And he came in fresh on that play, too.
It was a really, really cool drive to go watch. But we just couldn't sustain that because we just had no rhythm throughout the night. And then when we had an opportunity to make plays, we didn't make them. In the second half, we run a slant to B and we get a drop. Big time play, could have been an easy first down to start a drive, kickstart us. We don't get that. We end up going 3 and out. The next drive, we have a wide open curl, and we overthrow it. And it ends up the corner is so far off our receiver that he's able to catch it in his chest from the overthrow. So just, unlucky because the coverage was off so much. But you got to make that throw because the coverage off so much. And that would have given us a first down. We could have, again, stayed on the field. Instead, it turns into an interception and a field goal at that point. And then we get the ball back. We drive down to the 43. The play Blaine gets hurt on really should have been a completion. It's another overthrow. Mm-hmm. And we just, we went out today and we did our fix-it period and we threw those. We threw the glance. where we got to catch the ball with Tucker, the overthrow on the curl, where we got to make a good throw there, and then the vertical ball where we got to make it. If we make those 3 throws, passes and catches, it could have been a whole different ball game. But it's still us just trying to teach our guys to make the play in that moment. And it feels like you got a sledgehammer and you're just beating against a dam. And you hope eventually you can just keep beating against it, and eventually that dam will break and it'll flood, and you just get this flood of great plays from our guys. And I think we just keep putting ourselves in that situation, keep being in these close games, and hopefully at some point we're able to make that play, and the dam breaks and it just floods this valley, and you get to play after play after play, and it just becomes who we are. But right now it's just we're still beating against that dam, and hopefully we can get it to break. And I think our guys have been willing to continue to pick the sledgehammer up, and really that's all we can ask of them. Just keep picking it up and keep hammering away. And eventually that'll break. And when it does, man, it's going to flood this place, and you're going to see great things from our guys. So excited to keep going back to work and teach our guys how to do those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it just seems like we've gotten unlucky in some areas, too, with some turnovers that, on Friday night, the fumble, it looked like from the booth it was out. I don't know what you saw back on film.
I think on the drone shot shows that it's out. They just didn't have eyes on it. And they came over and said we didn't see the fumble. And how many times, a guy stands up with the ball after the play and it was down.
Yeah.
So when they don't see the fumble, I get it. We probably got lucky on the other hand where I think we probably had a fumble on the kickoff that they called down.
Yeah.
Those things typically balance out. The PI early I thought was a PI in the end zone. And then I thought the interception probably wasn't a PI.
Yeah.
So, those things kind of balance out. I thought, the referee that night, Lance Hamilton, I thought they did a good job as a crew. I think they're willing to listen. They're willing to hear those things. I thought it was a fumble. But in the end, yes, we can say, hey, we don't get lucky at those things. And part of that's true, but good teams make their luck. Right. Bad teams wait on luck. Good teams create luck, create those plays. And right now we're just not creating those plays like we were early in the year. We were creating turnovers. Now it feels like we're just waiting on a turnover. So we've got to get back to flying around defensively, create those turnovers, cause our luck to happen. Don't wait on luck to happen.
Right.
So with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here with the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show. So when we come. Welcome back to the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show with Walker Valley head football coach Drew Akins. I'm Andy Morris along with Jacob Mason. Coach, diving back into Upperman, last week Jacob and I talked about our players of the game. Of course, Eli Wilson with the great field goal, the 39-yarder as you spoke of in the first segment. But also we talked about Blaine Lowe and the impact he not only had offensively but defensively as well.
Yeah, Blaine won our offensive player of the game. The glance catch that he had early on, it was a 3rd and long, or maybe 2nd long. We had just gotten a penalty. We threw the glance. He caught it, split the safeties, had a great gain, and then went straight back to Jet, and he got our touchdown early.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That's one thing I said to Jacob. I love when a guy makes a big play and then you go back to him. I was so happy you did that.
Excuse me. Yeah, it was kind of in our plan, honestly. We had this plan to go outside zone here, Jet here, and just keep them guessing on that. We timed that really well, I thought, with the glance, because they were playing the safety over top towards B, because B demands so much attention that it let Blaine come open. Blaine ended up with 4 or 5 runs, over 20 yards, had the touchdown. Just played a really good game for us there before he got hurt, and really should have had a catch on the one he got hurt on if that ball's not overthrown. I thought Blaine played a really good game, gave us some energy early. Defensively, the guys that I've already talked about, man, Eli and Brady played a great game. When you combine for 26 tackles on a night, solo tackles, and then you have the assist on top of that, those guys played awesome. I knew early on through practice, hey, Brady, you're going to have a chance to make some plays tonight. You're going to have a chance to be in on a lot of tackles. You could be player of the game really easily. if you go do your job over and over and over. And sometimes that's hard to do, to be like, especially against number 2. That back was really good. He was a very talented back. And we just kept tackling. He really didn't break anything until that last run, and we didn't fit it great. But before that, man, we had gotten 2 on the ground, and Brady had a lot to do with that, along with obviously Eli. I feel like we talk about it every week. We could give Eli, defense player of the game every week if we wanted to.
He needs his own segment on the show.
He does. We should just get him on and it would be like 45 seconds because he wouldn't talk. But man, the kid's a player. Maybe we just show his clips. Just spend a segment of just showing his tackles. But kid's a player, man. I love him. I love the way he plays the game. We're going to get him to the next level playing somewhere, and he's going to make a huge impact wherever he ends up at. And then obviously special teams-wise, Eli Wilson had a great night with the really good kicks on kickoff, putting it where they needed to be in order for us to be able to make some plays on kickoff, but also that 39-yard field goal. That's a career long for him, and that put us up in the game and gave us really a kind of a sigh of relief going into halftime, and really gave us opportunities in the second half to stay really close, even though we didn't end up getting close enough at the end. So Eli put us in that situation. He's been an awesome weapon to have in our back pocket. So, I wish we weren't kicking so many field goals, but the fact that we're making them makes it feel a little bit better.
Yeah, and honestly, you just don't see a lot of it in high school ball. You see it in a lot of big programs. In college, you see it a lot. But in high school, it's not common to have a guy that can go out there and make a 40-yarder for you and give you the lead at halftime. So definitely a weapon, and we get another year of it.
Yeah, it's different as a head coach. We're talking on the headset right there before that play. I think there was 11 seconds left, and it's like, okay, we're not talking, hey, how can we throw it into the end zone? We're talking, hey, how can we where's Eli's range? Yeah. What hash does he want to be on? Where do we want to go with this? So really being thoughtful now, he's kind of in the back of our mind, hey, if we don't score on this, where do we need to be to make sure Eli feels comfortable to make this kick? And we talked, as we were talking, it's like, hey, it needs to be inside the 25, and it needs to be on the right hash. So we got lucky to step out of bounds on time, but it was inside the 25, and we're on the right hash. And he went in and did a great job putting it through. So absolutely a weapon. And it's been awesome to have him throughout this year. And I'm glad we get him back next year. We're going to get him in the weight room and get the ball in the end zone. And now you're talking about a whole new weapon when it comes to kickoffs. If you have to start at the 20 every single time we kick off, man, that you talk about a weapon. So that's something that we're definitely gonna press him to do over the offseason, is get that leg strength up where we know it's going in the end zone every time, so we can kick it deep and not have to worry about kickoff.
Maybe even take some chances with some 45-yard field goals.
Yeah, dude. Listen, if he shows in practice, in the offseason, without a rush, without a snap, without a hold, he's making it from 53. Wow. So we know he has the leg strength to do that. But putting those mechanics together, I think you can see some things where we extend him even deeper, just give him those opportunities, especially late in halves, where we can kick it and not have to worry about them getting the ball, where it was. So
yeah, we got real excited on the broadcast when the 4th down play happened, because I said, hey, we've got a minute and a half, and I think if we get inside the 20 to 25-yard line, we're looking at 3 here. So that was a neat little drive and a fun.
Yeah, we've gained a lot of confidence in Eli's ability.
I mean, the moment that happened, I started doing the math in my head and saying, okay, 17 yards, where do we need to be? If we get inside the 20 to 25, I have a faith that he's got a good shot at this.
Yeah, and he did. We didn't even question it. When we saw we got inside the 25, it was field goal out. We didn't even talk about, hey, what do we want to do from here? Do we want to take a shot? No, let's just kick it and go up. And there was no doubt in our minds that was the right decision, and he proved us right. Yeah. So that's fun.
Coach, talking about Eli only being a junior, there's some other young guys that got quite a bit of playing time. Obviously, with Jackson Gibson being inactive last week, we saw Jack Shantz a lot on defense. We saw Troy Duskevich at tight end a lot. Talk about those guys and their impact, and along with Jeremiah Townsend, who's also a sophomore.
Yeah, we got a lot of sophomores playing. Honestly, you got to look out. You got Zeke Garrison playing defensively, playing huge snaps. You kind of forget about him because he doesn't look like a sophomore. He's not playing like a sophomore either.
No, he's not.
Jeremiah Townsend, Bryson Farley up front that are guys that we're really going to count on. There's some other sophomores that aren't playing on Fridays that are going to play in our JV game tonight that we really like, with the Kelly twins, Colvin Lovingood. We got some size with our D-line. Eli Cross on the defensive line. So we got some really hopeful guys in the trenches over the next couple of years that we're really excited about being able to play for, step in on Friday nights. And then obviously Troy Duskevich has played tight end for us throughout the year. Has been kind of overshadowed by what Jackson Gibson's done, but Troy's been awesome. He's very athletic for a line, for a tight end, but he has the blocking skills of a lineman. So it's really gives you best of both worlds. He's able to pull, but he's able to base, and that's really hard to find. And Jack Shantz is getting more and more reps throughout the season. He's going to letter for us, so we're going to have some sophomore class that letters, big time letters.
That experience is huge.
Even special teams wise, Mason Alexander lettered on special teams for us this year. Asher Easley lettered on special teams for us this year. So some kids that maybe they didn't play offense or defense, but they got special teams letter that kind of gives them that Friday night experience. That way when they play, on the offensive defense side of the ball, they're able to I've been here before. I've been under these lights. I've been on the field on a Friday night. That's a cool opportunity for them.
Yeah.
So, Coach, going back to the Thursday night game this week, we're at home, region game, final regular season game of the season against Howard. Kind of talk about what you're expecting from your team this Thursday.
Listen, Howard's 1-8, but their defensive line is not 1-8. Their defensive line is almost undefeated. Their defensive line is a really talented group of kids. We're going to have to make sure that we handle them up front. They don't have a lot of depth, so we've got to make sure that early on we have to kind of weather a storm, because they come out and they play really hard, but eventually when it's only 4 guys going throughout the whole night, you kind of gas out. So we've got to get to them to the point where they've played enough snaps where they kind of get tired. Defensively, we've got to make sure we keep them in leverage. They do some things formationally you're going to see that kind of gets you unbalanced, and you've got to adjust to that and then be able to get them on the ground. We've got to make sure we control the explosive plays. So the explosive plays are what's going to get you beat here. So make sure you get on the ground, make them snap it again, make them make a mistake, and then take advantage of that mistake. Defensively, man, they do a really good job of running to the ball. Their front 7 is really strong. You're going to watch their D-line and be like, ooh, I like that. I like that group. Those guys would play anywhere in this region. I know we talked about number 99 from McMinn, but when you watch number 44 from Howard, you're going to see a very similar thing. The kid can really play. So we've got to make sure we handle them up front, stay on the field, get them tired, and then hopefully be able to run the ball a little bit once we tire them out. So, Evan's got to be efficient. He's got to make sure he hits his receivers. They can't do the overthrow thing because if they get the ball in space, it becomes really difficult to leverage them with the offensive linemen on the field. With Troy, those guys are really good at blocking. They're not good at running guys down. So we just got to be careful with the football. But you're going to see a really good defensive line. I think, they're probably one of the top 2 defensive lines we've seen all year. And that's saying something when you look at the teams that we played. So, it comes down to making sure we can block them, making sure we get them on the ground, tackle them. And then hopefully, we can celebrate a win with our seniors and send them out the right way. I know it's not their last home game, but it's their last regular season home game, and they deserve to go out with a win. So we're going to have to fight to make that happen. But I'm really excited to get out there and do that with our players.
So 7:30 start.
7:30.
When will senior night
Senior
start?
night will start at about 7 o'clock. We're recognizing 3 groups, football players, band, and cheer. So there's a lot of kids that we got to get recognized in the pregame, so we're going to make sure we do that. And then I know we talked about it last week, but we've gotten in contact with Ocoee, and at halftime we're going to recognize the Ocoee middle football team. So we get to celebrate our seniors going out, and we get to celebrate Ocoee Middle and what they did throughout this season.
Very good group of 8th grade.
Because they have a great group that had a great season. So excited to celebrate them at halftime as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, Ocoee's pumped out a couple great groups in a row, and that's obviously very encouraging when it comes to
Yeah, I'm going to be careful. I'm going to be careful what you say, but I'm very happy with the way that they've managed that program, and really happy to see them have some successful years. So
Absolutely.
Excited to celebrate that group.
Yeah.
So with that, once again, this is the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show. The game this week against region opponent Howard will take place on Thursday, 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to Jacob and myself on Sports 99.1. We'll come on about half an hour before kickoff. Once again, kickoff 7:30, so you can expect us around 7 o'clock. With that, this has been Walker Valley head coach Drew Akins. I'm Andy Morris with Jacob Mason, and we look forward to having you guys tune in with us on Thursday night.